plastic pitcher fills up from the kitchen tap, a steady stream of water running cold and clear. I'm walking through a retro psychological trap, feeding a reminder of a happier year. The R&B piano hits a dusty muted key, a slow cascading sequence dropping down, down low. I'm pouring hydration on our history, refusing to admit that it's time to let it go. The brown leaves are brittle on the windowsill display. They crunch beneath my fingers like a broken bowl. You left them when you packed your bags and walked away, to navigate the tundra completely alone. The ambient strings begin to tensely, sadly swell over the mud that is starting to spill and overflow. I am a gardener inside an empty cell, waiting for a miracle that will never grow. And I'm just watering dead plants tonight, drowning the roots of a love that didn't stay, bleeding out beneath the dim kitchen light, while watching my entire world turn a heavy gray. The sad violin is scoring my lonely routine, a slow pop ballad for a botanical wreck. I am just a silhouette upon a tragic scene, with a heavy anchor sitting directly in my neck. The low pop bassline drops like a heavy pottery thud, vibrating through the counter and up my heavy spine. The poison of your absence freezes in my blood, ripping up my future's fragile baseline. No matter how much moisture I pour inside the clay, the structural foundation is completely dead in stone. I'm just inflating an illusion of a sweet summer day, surviving in this quiet house all alone. And I'm just watering dead plants tonight, drowning the roots of a love that didn't stay, bleeding out beneath the dim kitchen light, while watching my entire world turn to heavy gray. The sad violin is scoring my lonely routine, a slow pop ballad for a botanical wreck. I am just a silhouette upon a tragic scene, with a heavy anchor sitting directly in my neck. Smash the ceramic and throw the dirt away. Stop trying to resurrect what is already dust. I am tired of printing out this heavy cloudy gray and fertilizing promises that I can never trust. Can you feel the panic of a hyper-focused jaw vibrating through the dead and heavy space of the room? I'm dropping the picture straight onto the hardwood floor and putting an end to the servitory gloom. Drip, 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 the soil is cold. The final story has been told. No more water, no more bloom, just dead plants in an empty room. Fade to black. The green highway signs are flickering in the dark, 60 miles of asphalt burning through my soul. I pass the exit where we used to leave our mark, trying to make my fragmented navigation whole. The R&B piano hits a low syncopated chord, matching the steady thumping of the tires below. I am a lonely driver on a scenic wooden board, with nowhere left for my broken spirit to go. The dashboard navigation tells me where to turn, a digital voice directing me away from grief. But every mile marker is a lesson I must learn, to grant my hyperactive mind a short relief. The ambient strings begin to cinematic swing, pass. And the next exit is to forget you tonight. I'm pulling off the interstate of all our pain, stepping away from the glare of your synthetic light, and driving straight into the California rain. The sad violin is scoring my final westward cruise, a slow pop ballad for a driver out of grace. I'm dropping down the gears to lose these heavy blues, and washing your cool shadow from this place. The low pop bassline drops like a heavy lane change, vibrating through the chassis in my heavy spine. Living without your navigation feels so strange, ripping up our future's fragile baseline. I see the coast approaching through the midnight fog, casting long skeletal shapes across the winding track. I'm closing out the entry to our toxic travel log, knowing that this vehicle is never turning back. And the next exit is to forget you tonight. I'm pulling off the interstate of all our pain, stepping away from the glare of your synthetic light, and driving straight into the California rain. The sad violin is scoring my final westward cruise, a slow pop ballad for a driver out of grace. I'm dropping down the gears to lose these heavy blues, and washing your cruel shadow from this place. Indicator blinking, put your foot down on the floor. Take the off-river away from his closed kitchen door. I am tired of circling the highway of his blame, and suffocating under the ignition of his flame. Let the tires screech, let the past slip out of gear. I am turning off the route that keeps me trapped in fear. An emotional transition at 100 miles an hour, reclaiming the control of my own internal power. Bling, bling, take the turn, leave the bridge, let it burn. Off the highway, into the new next exit. Forgot you, fade to black. The neon lights are cutting through the smoky room. The main event is over, and the crowds are gone. A couple of stray balloons are floating in the gloom, while I am left to face the oncoming dawn. The R&B piano hits a lonely rhythmic key, a slow filter chord progression on the track. I'm spinning in a circle with your memory, knowing that the daylight's never bringing you back. The bass is vibrating through the empty plastic cups, a hollow echo of the music from before. I see the couples cleaning up and packing up, while I'm frozen on the sticky hardwood floor. The ambient streams begin to tensely, sadly swell over the static of a speaker running low. I am a solitary dancer in an open cell, unable to just take my coat and finally go. And I'm just dancing alone at the after party, moving to a rhythm that you left behind. Everyone is leaving, but the ghost of you is staying, screaming your spine. The dopamine is clearing completely from my blood, ripping on my future's fragile baseline. As the strobe light catch the empty space where your fingers used to interlock with mine. Now I am faking expression on my face to mask the terror of this dark frozen timeline. And I'm just dancing alone at the after party, moving to a rhythm that you left behind. Everyone is leaving, but the ghost of you is staying, screaming your name in the corners of my mind. A sad violin scoring my lonely retreat, a slow pop ballad for a short return wreck. I am just a silhouette upon a crowded street, with a heavy anchor sitting directly in my neck. Oh, turn down the music and turn on the bright. Stop the remaining speakers playing their track. I'm suffocating underneath the weight of the night, desperate for reality that never comes back. Can you feel the panic of a final only spin, vibrating through the dead and heavy air of the room? I am losing the fight against the skin I am in, dressed up in a tragic solitary gloom. The music stops, the lights turn high, one last spin, one more sigh after the crowd, after the art, dancing alone with a broken heart, fade to black. I walk down Market Street at 10:30. The neon signs are blinking just the same. I see the coffee shop we frequented back then, but the window graphics no longer speak your name. The R&B piano hits a deep displaced key, a slow syncopated rhythm tracking with the crowd. Everyone is rushing past the shadow of me, while the noise of the transit grows entirely too loud. I take the usual corner on the crosswalk line, where we used to stand and watch the city move. But looking at this modern skyline of mine, I cannot find a single trace of our smooth groove. The ambient strings begin to tense, they sadly swell over the chatter of the tourists passing by. I am a native prisoner inside an open cell, staring at a cityscape that tells me how to cry. And I'm just a stranger in my own damn city tonight, navigating alleys that I used to know by heart, bleeding out beneath the local street lamplight. As everything we built here falls completely apart. The sad violin scoring my subway thud vibrating through the asphalt and the soles of my shoes. The architecture of our history is in my blood, amplifying these high-velocity hometown blues. The grid lines are shifting right before my eyes, casting long skeletal shadows on the concrete track. I'm looking at a paradise built on clean lies, knowing that the transit system's never turning back. And I'm just a stranger in my own damn city tonight, navigating alleys that I used to know by heart, bleeding out beneath the local street lamp light, as everything we built here falls completely apart. Of a localized goodbye echoing across the buildings in the dead of the night. I'm watching all our metropolitan memories die and vanishing entirely out of your selfish sight. Familiar blocks, unfamiliar view, lost in the place where I met you. My hometown, a foreign zone, a stranger in my city, left alone. Fade to black. Packing up the trunk under the Hollywood sign. The smog is sitting heavy on the valley tonight. I'm merging on the 5, crossing the county line, leaving the synthetic glare of your fluorescent light. The R&B piano hits a deep highway chord, a slow syncopated rhythm like the rhythm of the road. I am a lonely driver on a scenic wooden board, dropping off the cargo of your devastating load. The palm trees disappear inside the rearview glass, replaced by the desert in the open gray space. I spent so many seasons watching your shadow pass and trying to find a home inside your beautiful face. The ambient strings begin to cinematic swell over the dashboard, clock hitting 4 in the morning. I am finally escaping from your West Coast cell, ignoring every single late night digital warning. And I'm just leaving LA to find myself tonight, driving past the boundaries of our tragic romance, stepping far away from your sabotage light, to give my fragmented spirit a second chance. Dance the sad violin, scoring my lonely northbound cruise, a slow pop ballad for a California wreck. I'm dropping down the gear The low-pop bass line drops like a sudden lane change, vibrating through the chassis in the soles of my shoes. Living without your navigation feels incredibly strange as I untangle these high-velocity midnight blues. The neon signs of Sunset Boulevard are far behind. No more casting shadows on a broken-hearted dream. I'm clearing out the cache of my hyperactive mind and ripping up the fabric of our toxic scene. And I'm just leaving LA to find myself tonight, driving past the boundaries of our tragic romance, stepping far away from your sanctuary light to give my fragmented spirit a second chance. Dance the sad violin scoring my lonely northbound cruise, a slow pop ballad for a California wreck. I'm dropping down the gears to lose these heavy blues and washing your cruel memory from my fragile neck. Accelerate the engine and don't look back. Let the city lights flicker out into the gray. We are completely out of our beautiful track, and there is nothing left for us to save or say. Can you feel the G-force of a permanent goodbye echoing across the mountains of this empty state? I am watching all our Hollywood illusions instantly die, reclaiming the control of my own separate fate. Blink, blink, the valley fades. No more glare, no more shades. Out of the city, into the new. Leaving LA to find who I was before you. Fade to black. I slip into the corner booth at 10:30. The neon sign is buzzing out a lazy low glow. I'm hiding now from entering our house again, because the quiet emptiness is a heavy physical blow. The R&B piano hits a dusty lounge room key, a slow syncopated rhythm tracking with the ice in my glass. I'm looking at the stranger sitting next to me, waiting for this toxic heartbreak shadow to pass. Shadow to pass. The bartender doesn't even ask me what I want. He just reaches for the bottle on the top shelf display. He's seen the way your memory has come back to haunt and turn my entire universe to a permanent gray. The ambient strings begin to tensely, sadly swell over the chatter of the couples laughing up at the bar. I am a transient patron inside an open cell, wondering how we managed to crash our beautiful star. And the local bar knows my order now. They see the wreck is before I even open my mouth. I'm trying to survive, but I don't know how. Since our entire love story started heading down south, the sad violin is scoring my regular defeat. A slow pop ballad for a late night regular wreck. I am just a silhouette upon a vinyl seat, with a heavy anchor sitting directly in my neck. Oh, ooh, like a heavy towel, vibrating through the counter in the soles of my shoes. The alcohol is trying to make a desperate grab and neutralizing these high velocity midnight blues. I look down at the mahogany, the rings from the glass, a physical collection of the hours I've wasted away, hoping that the dopamine will finally pass before the sky turns into a critical oncoming gray. And the local bar knows my order now. They see the wreckage before I even open my mouth. I'm trying to survive, but I don't know how. Since our entire love story started heading down south, the sad violin is scoring my regular defeat, a slow pop ballad for a late night regular wreck. I am just a silhouette upon a vinyl seat, with a heavy anchor sitting directly in my neck. Oh, pour another double and turn down the lights. Stop the jukebox from playing that acoustic song. I'm suffocating underneath the weight of the night, trapped inside the spaces where I don't belong. Can you feel the panic of a habit born of grief, vibrating through the dead and heavy smoke in the room? I am looking for a liquid chemical relief, dressed up in a surreptitory hollow gloom. Last call, lights turn high, pay the bill. One more sigh, same drink, same stool. The local bar knows this fool. Fade to black. The bleachers were roaring under the Friday night lights. I wore your varsity jacket just to keep out the chill. We were the champions of those high velocity nights, believing our future was a summit we'd conquer at will. The R&B piano hits a nostalgic warm chord, syncopated gently with the ghost of a hometown cheer. But 24 hours completely flipped the board and traded the stadium magic for a heavy cold tear. Now the stadium is empty and the weekend is turned. The neon numbers on the scoreboard have gone stone dead. I'm sitting on the kitchen floor where our bridge burned, choking on the sentences that you violently said. The ambient strings begin to tensely, sadly swell over the makeup smudging down my frozen face. I am a casualty inside a silent cell, watching your golden silhouette out of this space. And it's Friday night lights, Saturday night, sobbing from the top of the world to the bottom of the floor. My hyperactive pulse is catastrophically throbbing since you dropped the keys and walked out of the door. The sad violin is scoring my weekend defeat, a slow pop ballad for a homecoming wreck. I am just a silhouette upon a tear-stained sheet, with a heavy anchor sitting in my neck. Sitting in my neck. The low pop bass line drops like a sudden defense line, vibrating through the floorboards and up my heavy spine. Yesterday your fingers were locked tightly in mine. Today I'm navigating this dark frozen timeline. I look at the jacket crumpled up in the hall, the silver embroidery marking my internal pain. A master masterclass in how a beautiful kingdom can fall, leaving me stranded in the California rain. And it's Friday night lights, Saturday night sounding from the top of the world to the bottom of the floor. My hyperactive pulse is catastrophically throbbing since you dropped the keys and walked out of the door. The sad violin is storming my weekend defeat, a slow pop ballad for a homecoming wreck. I am just a silhouette upon a tear-stained sheet with the heavy anchor sitting in my neck. Oh, turn down the brilliance of the stadium glare, put out the fire of the memories we made. I am suffocating underneath this dead, heavy air, counting the catastrophic price that I paid. 1 second we were singing at the top of our lungs, the next I am collapsing on this linoleum tile. The venom of your goodbye paralyzing our tongues, leaving me stranded with a disconnected smile. Game over, the crowds are gone, crying in the dark, waiting for the dawn. Friday night champion, Saturday night ghost, the person I needed the most fade to black. A public link appeared upon your profile page, a custom title written in your favorite font. I clicked it and my chest became a hollow cage, seeing the tracks that I could never seem to want. The R&B piano hits a sharp compressed key, a slow digital progression dragging through the dark. You used to share these exact melodies with me before you incinerated every single spark. Track number 2 is that acoustic indie song, the one we danced to in the kitchen last July. You traded out the context where it used to belong to make a different person smile instead of cry. The ambient strings begin to tensely, sadly swell over the track list of my modern day despair. I am a prisoner inside a streaming cell, gasping for a breath of unshared network air. And I'm just listening to the playlist you made for her, a digital sequence of a brand new love affair, blinded by the memories of the way we were while she's hitting shuffle without a single care. The sad violin is scoring my acoustic defeat, a slow pop ballad for a masochistic soul. I am just a ghost, refreshing dead on a sheet, watching another person take my lyric role. The low pop bassline drops like a sudden sync error, vibrating through my headphones and up my heavy spine. Reading the description is a psychological terror, ripping up the boundaries of my baseline. The runtime adds up to an hour and 15, 75 minutes of your curated style. The screen goes black on everything we used to mean, leaving me stranded with a disconnected smile. And I'm just listening to the playlist you made for her, a digital sequence of a brand new love affair, blinded by the memories of the way we were. She's hitting shuffle without a single care. The sad violin is scoring my acoustic defeat, a slow pop ballad for a masochistic soul. I am just a ghost, refreshing dead on a sheet, watching another as one. The stream runs dry. Our favorite song, a reason to cry. The playlist for her, the silence for me, fading out. Skip track, fade to black. The router light is pulsing like an open vein, casting a green glow across my freezing knees. I'm running through the queries of my private pain, trapped inside the network of your cold degrees. The R&B piano hits a sharp compressed chord, a slow electronic dragging rhythm on the track. I am a lonely hacker on a broken board, looking for a gateway that can bring us back. I check the active status on your messaging app, a green dot hovering beside your hidden name. I'm tracking your location on a digital map, internalizing all the burden of your game. The ambient strings begin to tensely, sadly swell over the static of my modern day despair. I am a prisoner inside a cyber cell, gasping for a breath of unnetworked air. And I'm just midnight cyber stalking you again, refreshing every column till my eyesight fails, standing all alone inside this quiet den, following the logic of your pixel trails. The sad violin is scoring my online defeat, a slow pop ballad for a hyper-focused wreck. I am just a ghost refreshing data on a sheet with a heavy anchor sitting in my neck. The low pop bassline drops like a data short, vibrating through my mouse, padding up my heavy spine. I'm reading through a stranger's survey report, ripping up the boundaries of my baseline. I see a silhouette behind a filtered glass. I see a timestamp from an hour ago. I'm waiting for this toxic dopamine to pass while watching my own self-respect run low. And I'm just midnight cyber stalking you again, refreshing every column till my eyesight fails, standing all alone inside this quiet den, following the logic of your pixel trail. The sad violin scoring my online defeat, a slow pop ballad for a hyper-focused track. I'm just a ghost refreshing data on a sheet with a heavy anchor sitting in my neck. Oh, disconnect the server, pull the cable from the fray, erase the cache of everything I shouldn't see. I'm suffocating under the ignition of your name and processing a loop of digital misery. Ooh, can you feel the panic of a hyperlink glance, vibrating through the dead and heavy space? I'm watching you engage in a completely different dance, while I am forced to look at a synthetic face. Incognito window, clear the recent view. 2 a.m. tracking, still obsessed with you. Log off the network, shut the laptop tight. Midnight silence. neighbors talking goodnight. I thought I had your profiles completely locked away, and followed every grid to keep my spirit clean. But an old mutual went out to a club today, and there you were, a ghost upon a stranger's screen. The R&B piano hits a sharp compressed key, a slow digital progression dragging through the dark. 5 seconds of a video was all it took for me to incinerate the remaining pieces of our spark. You're holding up a glass, you're throwing back your head, a familiar punchline landing on a different ear. The blue light is washing over my unmade bed. As I choke back a catastrophic, lonely tear, the ambient strings begin to tensely, sadly swell over the static of my modern day despair. I am an inmate inside an electronic cell, gasping for a breath of unnetworked air. And I'm just seeing you on someone else's story, a pixelated paradise that I cannot erase. You're living in a brand new observatory glory, while I am stuck inheriting the shadow of your face. The sad violin is scoring my digital defeat, a slow pop ballad for a masochistic heart. I'm just a ghost refreshing data on a sheet, watching my entire modern world fall apart. The low pop bassline drops like a sudden alert, vibrating through my palm and up my heavy spine. A haptic phantom buzz that only leaves me hurt, ripping up my future's fragile baseline. The video loops back to the very start again. I pause the screen to look at whose hand is on your coat, standing all alone inside this quiet, empty den, with the heavy anchor sitting directly in my throat. And I'm just seeing you on someone else's story, a pixelated paradise that I cannot erase. You're living in a brand new observatory glory, while I am stuck inheriting the shadow of your face. The sad violin is scoring my digital defeat, a slow pop ballad for a masochistic heart. I'm just a ghost refreshing data on a sheet, watching my entire modern world fall apart. Swipe up, close the app, throw the device away, break the addiction to a life that isn't mine. I am tired of printing out this heavy, cloudy claim, tracking your location past the boundary line. Can you feel the panic of the unexpected glance, vibrating through the dead and heavy space? I am watching you engage in a completely different dance, while I am forced to hide behind a straight synthetic face. 24-hour time, counting down the view, just a casual update, but it broke me in two. On her story on his feed, a validation trap, The driveway is a barren, empty concrete slab, just a couple of dark oil drops on the ground. He didn't hesitate or take a final grab at any of the memories we built around. The R&B piano hits a cold metallic key, a slow rolling tempo tracking through the dark. He packed his bags and took the title deed from me, leaving me stranded with a dying spark. I heard the engine turn, I heard the exhaust roar. He didn't even tap the brakes to look behind, just slammed his side and locked a separate front door with a velocity that was incredibly unkind. The ambient strings begin to cinematic swell over the open garage where the shadows meet. I am a pedestrian inside a hollow shell, left standing on the gravel of a total clean defeat. And he took the car, but he left the heartbreak here, stealing the wheels, believing the heavy load. I'm choking back a catastrophic lonely tear, watching his taillights bleed down the coastal road. The sad violin scoring my stationary wreck, a slow pop ballad for a soul that cannot move. He's pushing 90 with a smooth, unbothered neck, while I am crushed beneath our catastrophic groove. The low pop bass line drops like a transmission blow, vibrating through my bare feet on the kitchen tile. It's funny how the physical assets quickly go while I am stuck inheriting his bitter style. He took the leather seats, the premium stereo sound, the vehicle we used to chase the summer sun. Now I am just a casualty upon the ground, counting the damage of what his flight has undone. And he took the car, but he left the heartbreak here, stealing the wheels, believing the heavy load. I'm choking back a catastrophic lonely tear, watching his taillights bleed down the coastal road. The sad violin is scoring my stationary wreck, a slow pop ballad for a soul that cannot move. He's pushing 90 with a smooth, unbothered neck, while I am crushed beneath our catastrophic groove. A catastrophic groove. Let him drive it straight into the open sea, let the engine burn up all our shared history. I'm tired of standing in the driveway of his blame and suffocating under the ignition of his flame. He thinks he made a clean and profitable getaway, trading my devotion for a metal frame of gray. But the internal wreckage is a weight he couldn't take. He only took the keys, but I am stuck with the ache. Garage door open, the driveway is bare. He took the keys, he didn't care. He got the transit, I got the brake. He took the car, left the heartbreak fade to black. The salt air mixes with the tears on my face. I'm pushing 70 down a coastal lane. The ocean view is such a beautiful place, but it just amplifies my internal pain. The The R&B piano hits a deep low chord, matching the steady rumble of the tires below. I am a lonely driver on the scenic board, with nowhere left for my broken spirit to go. I pass the overlook where we used to stop to watch the tide rolling beneath the moon. The temperature inside the chassis starts to drop as the radio plays our favorite soul pop tune. The ambient strings begin the cinematic swell over the golden hour fading into gray. I am a prisoner inside a moving cell, chasing a horizon that is slipping away. And I'm just crying on the Pacific Coast Highway tonight, blinded by the taillights and the misty spray, drowning out the beauty of the sunset light, wishing I could wash the memory of us away. The sad violin is scoring my lonely westward drive, a slow pop ballad for a California red. I'm trying to convince my lungs that I'm still alive, with a heavy anchor sitting in my neck. The low pop bass line drops heavy and thick, vibrating through the steering wheel in my spine. The ocean breeze is playing a cruel trick, ripping up my future's fragile baseline. I see the neon signs of Malibu ahead, casting long synthetic shadows on the winding track, replaying every single bit of phrase that you said, knowing that the vehicle can never go back. And I'm just crying on the Pacific Coast Highway tonight, blinded by the taillights and the misty spray, drowning out the beauty of the sunset light, wishing I could wash the memory of us away. The sad violin is scoring my lonely westward drive, a slow pop ballad for a California wreck. I'm trying to convince my lungs that I'm still alive, with a heavy anchor sitting in my neck. Accelerate the engine and let the music roll. Scream my desperation to the open sea. I am tired of staring at a closed kitchen door and begging for a love that wasn't meant for me. Can you feel the gravity of a permanent goodbye echoing across the cliffs of this deserted coast? I am watching all our West Coast dreams instantly die, and trading the reality for a beautiful ghost. The sun sinks down, the sky turns gray, the headlights catch the ocean spray. Crying on the highway, the engine dies, closing my eyes, fade to black. Fade to black. The bathroom mirror shows a stranger's face. I'm staring at the scissors in my hand. I need to strip your memory from this space and undo everything that we had planned. The R&B piano hits a sharp raw key, a slow deliberate tempo in the dark. I watch the heavy locks fall down past me, extinguishing the last remaining spark. You used to run your fingers through these strands. You said the length of it was your favorite view, but I am taking back my own commands and breaking every anchor tied to you. The ambient strings begin to cinematic swell over the pieces scattered on the floor. I am escaping from your beautiful self and stepping out a different kitchen door. And I just cut my hair because of you tonight, changing my reflection to survive the break, shaving off the past beneath the dim room light to lessen the immense weight of this ache. The sad violin is scoring my dramatic shift, the slow pop ballad for a soul reborn. I'm letting go of your expensive gift, no longer terrified or split or torn. The low pop bass line drops heavy and clean, vibrating through the tiles beneath my bare feet. It is a sudden physical transition, seemed to pull my spirit out of total defeat. The weight is lifting from my heavy neck, the silhouette is sharp, the lines are new. I'm standing up inside the tragic wreck, rebuilding who I am in spite of you. And I just cut my hair because of you tonight, changing my reflection to survive the break, shaving off the past beneath the dim room light to lessen the immense weight of this ache. The sad violin is scoring my dramatic shift, a slow pop ballad for a soul reborn. I'm letting go of your expensive gift, no longer terrified or split or the silver blade sweep clean across the past, erase the touch they used to make me freeze. I am making sure your shadow cannot last, or drop my fragile body to its knees. Can you see the transformation taking hold? Can you feel the boundary I am cutting down? I am stepping out into the freezing cold, a new ruler of a completely different town. Snip, snip, falling down, the old me on the ground. New look, new eyes, no more tears, no more lies, fade to black. The screen stays dark against the kitchen tile. I pick it up and put it down again. I'm looking for the phantom of your smile to break the silence of this empty den. The R&B piano hits a frantic compressed key, a slow obsessive rhythm dragging through the dark. I'm checking notifications on a loop of misery, desperate for a single digital spark. My thumb is switching over your old thread, refreshing columns that are locked in stone, replaying every single word you said to mask the terror of being left alone. The ambient strings begin to softly, tensely swell over the static of my modern day despair. I am an inmate inside an entrance cell, gasping for a breath of network air. And I'm just checking my phone every for seconds tonight, blinding my eyes beneath the artificial glow, hunting for validation out of sight while watching my own self-respect run low. The sad violin is scoring my digital defeat, a slow pop ballad for an anxious broken heart. I'm just a ghost refreshing data on a sheet, watching my entire kingdom fall apart. The low pop bass line drops like a sudden alert, vibrating through my palm and up my heavy spine. A haptic phantom buzz, it only leaves me hurt, ripping up my spirit's fragile baseline. The battery is dropping down to single digits now, mirroring the energy left inside my chest. I try to break the habit, but I don't know how to grant my hyperactive mind a little rest. And I'm just checking my phone every 4 seconds tonight, blinding my eyes beneath the artificial glow, hunting for validation out of sight while watching my own self-respect run low. The sad violin is scoring my digital defeat, a slow pop ballad for an anxious broken heart. I'm just a ghost refreshing data on a sheet, watching my entire kingdom fall apart. Oh, turn off the signal, pull the network card, break the addiction to a name that won't appear. I am hitting the screen entirely too damn hard, choking back a catastrophic lonely tear. Can you feel the panic of a silent notification box vibrating through the dead and heavy space? I am completely trapped behind these modern electronic locks, desperate for the real world outline of your face. Pick it up, unlock, nothing there. Check the clock, 4 seconds pass. Light up the screen, still empty, fade to black. I'm sitting on the tiles of the kitchen floor, a single daisy crumpled in my shaking palm. I hear your car engine idling by the door, destroying the remaining shred of my false calm. The R&B piano hits a hesitant soft key, a slow syncopated rhythm tracking with my doubt. I'm pulling at the petals of our history, trying to figure what this love is all about. He calls me back, this pedal number 1. He leaves me stranded, that's the second tier. I'm counting up the damage of what you have undone, to balance out the weight of my internal fear. The ambient strings begin to cinematic swell over the white fragments scattered at my feet. I am a romantic inmate inside a fragile cell, staring at a pattern of a total clean defeat. And it's he loves me not, mostly not. If I am being completely true, I'm holding on to phrases that you forgot, and bleeding from the memory of you. The sad violin scoring my lonely game, a slow pop ballad for a fool out of grace. I'm tearing down the altar of your beautiful name and washing your cruel shadow from this place. And washing your cruel shadow from this place. The low low-power bassline drops like a heavy anchor thud, vibrating through my chest and down my heavy spine. The poison of your inconsistency is in my blood, ripping up my future's fragile baseline. You give me just enough warmth to make me stay, then plunge the entire house into a freezing freeze. I spent so many seasons wishing you'd look my way, while dropping down directly to my knees. And this, he loves me not, mostly not. If I am being completely true, I'm holding on to phrases that you forgot, and bleeding from the memory of you. The sad violin scoring my lonely game, a slow pop ballad for a fool out of grace. I'm tearing down the altar of your beautiful name, and washing your cruel shadow from this place. Flame. The math is simple, but the reality is dense. You only love the version of me you can control. I am finally stepping over your defensive fence and reclaiming the pieces of my shattered soul. The stem is bare, the truth is clear. No more guessing, no more fear. He loves me not, mostly not. Letting go, fade to black. Malibu breeze is rolling through the open bay. The sky is bleeding layers of a deep magenta flame. I'm dropping down the gears along the coastal highway way, but the ocean air refuses to echo your sweet name. The R&B piano hits a warm cascading chord, a slow syncopated rhythm tracking with the engine's purr. I am a lonely driver on the scenic wooden board, blinded by the memories of the way we proudly were. Dashboard clock is ticking down to 7:45, the exact same time we used to pull onto the sandy cliff. I'm forcing my exhaust to shaking hands to safely drive, fighting off the coldness of a sudden psychological stiff. The ambient strings begin to cinematic swell over the golden hour, splashing on the empty seat. I am a transient prisoner inside a moving cell, chasing the horizon of a total absolute defeat. And it's a sunset over the Pacific Coast Highway without you, the most beautiful tragedy that I have ever seen. The waves are crashing heavy down into the midnight blue, washing out the outline of what we used to mean. The sad violin is scoring my lonely westward drive, a slow pop ballad for a California wreck. I'm trying to convince my spirit that I'm still alive, with a heavy anchor sitting in my fragile neck. Low pop bassline I spent so many summers with you laughing by my side. Now I'm just navigating these high velocity blues. The neon signs will point, doom will flicker in her head, casting long synthetic shadows on the winding lane, replaying every single bit of phrase that you said underneath the gorgeous sky that mocks my internal pain. And it's the sunset over the Pacific Coast Highway without you, the most beautiful tragedy that I have ever seen. The waves are crashing heavy down into the midnight blue, washing out the outline of what we used to mean. And the sad violin is scoring my lonely westward drive, a slow pop ballad for a California wreck. I'm trying to convince my spirit that I'm still alive, with a heavy anchor sitting in my fragile neck. Turn down the brilliance of the golden sun, put out the fire burning on the water's edge. I am suffocating from what your fleeting love has undone, as I drive this vehicle along the canyon ledge. Can you feel the gravity of permanent goodbye echoing across the cliffs of this deserted coast? I am watching all our West Coast dreams instantly die, and trading the reality for a beautiful, haunting ghost. The sun sinks down, the sky turns gray, the headlights catch the ocean spray. PCH line, the engine dies. Sunset without you, closing my eyes, fade to black. The tail lights flicker at the edge of the drive, a steady rumble as you idle by the gate. I'm forcing my exhausted lungs to stay alive, accepting the cold diagnostic of our fate. The R&B piano hits a deep low key, a slow heavy chord progression tracking in the dark. You've already stripped the title deed from me, extinguishing the last remaining spark. Your foot is hovering above the pedal now, ready to merge onto the high velocity road. I wanna reach your window, but I don't know how to carry the immense weight of this crushing load. The ambient strings begin to cinematic swell over the empty asphalt where the shadows meet. I am a pedestrian inside a hollow shell, left standing on the gravel of a clean defeat. So don't look back here as you drive away. Don't check the rearview mirror for a sign of us. Keep your eyes fixed onto the oncoming gray, and leave the wreckage in the rearview dust. The sad violin is scoring my stationary wreck, a slow pop ballad for a California split. I'm standing still with this anchor in my neck. This is the absolute end, and we both know it. And we both know it. The low pop bassline drops like a heavy lane change, vibrating through my bare feet on the concrete floor. Living inside your absence feels incredibly strange as I stare intently at the closed front door. You made your decision and you packed your bags tight, trading my devotion for a brand new track. So accelerate the engine straight into the night, knowing that this vehicle slow pop ballad for a California split. I'm standing still with this anchor in my neck. This is the absolute end, and we both know it. Oh, keep your hands locked tightly on the steering wheel. Don't let a single shred of mercy cross your mind. I wanna unknow the coldness that you make me feel, and leave your emotional warfare far behind. The indicators blink and take the final off-ramp lane. Scream your desperation to the open midnight sky. I'm finally stepping out of your systemic pain and letting the remaining pieces of our kingdom die. Put your foot down, hit the gas, let the phantom finally pass. Eyes ahead, the road is clear. Don't look back, don't look back here. Fade to black. My phone screen updates right at 10 to 9. The little double check marks turn a solid blue. I know he's staring at this broken heart of mine, reading the damage that he put me through. The R&B piano hits a sharp cold key, a slow compressed progression dragging through the dark. He does not type a word or send a link to me, deliberately crushing our remaining spark. He watched my typing bubble rise, then disappear. He knows the exact timing of my midnight crash. I am a casualty with nowhere left to steer, left in the driveway with our burning ash. The ambient strings begin to tensely swell over the static of his terrifying peace. I am an inmate inside an electronic cell, where his indifference denies me any release. And he knows I'm hurting in this empty room. He sees the notification of my absolute defeat. He's navigating fine while I am in the gloom, just a casual drop off on his tracking sheet. A sad violin scoring my digital break, a slow pop ballad for a visible wreck. He intentionally walks around the massive ache, with a heavy anchor sitting directly in my neck. The low pop bass line drops like a sudden block, vibrating through my palm and up my heavy spine. He looks directly at the ticking digital clock, ripping up my spirit's fragile baseline. He knows the phrases that could fix my breathing now. He knows the medicine to clear the heavy gray, but he is holding back the cure anyhow, choosing to let me quietly rot away. And he knows I'm hurting in this empty room. He sees the notification of my absolute defeat. He's navigating fine while I am in the gloom, just a casual drop off on his tracking sheet. The sad violin is scoring my digital break, a slow pop ballad for a visible wreck. He intentionally walks around the massive ache, with a heavy anchor sitting directly in my neck. Turn off the signal and disconnect the feed. Stop letting him witness how I fall apart. He is feeding his ego on the validation I need, and practicing the efficiency of my own broken heart. Can you feel the panic of on silence, vibrating through the dead and heavy space. He's executing me with a passive cold violence, while I am forced to hide behind a straight synthetic face. He sees the red receipt, he knows the score. He watches me break from his locked door. No text incoming, the signal dies. He knows I'm hurting. Closing my eyes, fade to black. The porch light is a sharp interrogation beam. I twist the metal knob and step inside the hall. I'm practicing the movements of a plastic scene, hoping nobody sees the empire start to fall. The R&B piano hits a dark compressed key, a slow defensive rhythm dragging through the room. I keep my head down low so you can't look at me, or trace the outline of this heavy, fresh cut gloom. My roommate's sitting on the kitchen counter stool. She pours a glass of water, looks up with a smile. I am a casualty, a broken-hearted fool who just walked backward down a devastating mile. The ambient strings begin to tensely, sadly swell over the greediness she's starting to declare. I am an inmate inside an emotional cell, desperate to shield her from the smoke in the air. So please don't ask about my night tonight. Don't make me open up my mouth to speak a lie. I'm bleeding underneath the synthetic kitchen light and losing every shred of logic. Why I cry, the sad violin is scoring my quiet defeat, a slow pop ballad for a highly fragile wreck. I just need to slide beneath the heavy sheet, with this crushing anchor sitting in my neck. The low part bass line drops like a sudden shield, vibrating through my boots and down my heavy spine. The poison of your cold goodbye is unrevealed, ripping up my future's baseline line. I offer a polite generic, everything is fine, then turn my shoulder toward the dark bedroom door, crossing a catastrophic psychological line, collapsing silently onto the hardwood floor. So please don't ask about my night tonight. Don't make me open up my mouth to speak a lie. I'm bleeding underneath the synthetic kitchen light and losing every shred of logic. Why I cry, the sad violin is scoring my quiet defeat, a slow pop ballad for a highly fragile wreck. I just need to slide beneath the heavy sheet, with this crushing anchor sitting in my neck. Lock the door and let the absolute dark fall. Don't let them hear the volume of my silent shout. I am tired of pretending against the hallway wall while the last of my oxygen is running out. Can you feel the panic of a secret built on grief, vibrating through the dead and heavy space of this room? I am looking for a quick, uninterrogated relief, dressed up in a tragic celebratory gloom. How was your day? It was okay, the closing door, the fade away. Don't ask the truth, don't watch me break. Please don't ask about my night, fade to black. sedan pulled up against the rainy curb. I opened up the door and slid into the rear. I didn't speak a single conversation, a word. Just turned my face away to hide a heavy tear. The R&B piano hits a dark compressed key, a slow syncopated rhythm tracking with the wiper's pace. The digital dashboard is illuminating me, reflecting the disaster written on my face. We merged onto the highway, moving through the gray. He checked his rearview mirror, looking at my eyes. I was replaying every word you chose to say. When you demolished all our future with your lies, the ambient strains begin to tensely sally swell over the navigation, giving a generic cue. I am a transient passenger inside a moving cell, drowning completely in the memory of you. And the Lyft driver asked if I was okay tonight. He saw me breaking down inside his backseat view. We're passing underneath the local exit light, while I am falling clean apart over you. The sad violin is scoring my transit defeat, a slow pop ballad for a mobile regular wreck. I'm just a silhouette upon a vinyl seat, with a heavy anchor sitting directly in my neck. The low pop bassline drops like a heavy lane change, vibrating through the chassis and the soles of my shoes. Living inside your absence feels incredibly strange, as I untangle these high velocity midnight blues. He offered me a tissue and he turned the music down, a little shred of mercy from a completely random hand, while we are navigating this deserted town, leaving our ruined kingdom on a shifting sand. In the Lyft driver asked if I was okay tonight. He saw me breaking down inside his backseat view. We're passing underneath the local exit light, while I am falling clean apart over you. The sad violin is scoring my transit defeat, a slow pop ballad for a mobile regular wreck. I'm just a silhouette upon a vinyl seat, with a heavy anchor sitting directly in my neck. Keep on driving and don't turn off the meter. Take me 1,000 miles away from this closed front door. The air inside this vehicle is getting rapidly deeper, as I collapse entirely onto the floor. Can you feel the panic of a total stranger knowing exactly how much damage your fleeting love can make? I'm watching the last of my defenses blowing and bending underneath the immense weight of this ache. Your destination is on the right. Step out alone into the night. 5-star